What is going on, traders? It's Johnny here with TraderX. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the channel today. I hope you guys have all been having an amazing Friday and we're all able to end on a green note. But as usual, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know exactly how my day trading went today. So let's get right into the recap. And so as you guys can see from the screen, today was a green day, right? So I was able to end the week on a green note. I was up $46 on TQQQ and an additional $15 on SQQQ, right? So about $61 today. And then Tesla itself, right, did have a green day as well. So that did make me an additional $65. And so these were my field orders, right? As you guys noticed, not too many orders today, right? Pretty similar to yesterday. And I started trading at 6:31 and ended at 6:48, right? So I traded for even less time today than I did yesterday. Yesterday I did for about 25 minutes. Today was, about 17 minutes or so. And so let me let you guys know exactly how I was able to, make some money today. And so heading into, market open, what I pretty much saw going on, well, the Nasdaq was indicating signs of a sell-off, right? It was trading between the middle and bottom VWAP, and every time it would break above the EMA, right, it would struggle to hold. So let me go ahead and zoom in a little for you guys. So as you guys notice, right, every time it tried to break above the EMA, it would do a bad job of holding. It'd pull on back, try to break above it, and continue to get rejected, right? Form these lower highs and lower lows. And so ultimately, right, it did start to trade a bit sideways, ended up pushing back up to the middle VWAP, right, got rejected. There was a strong resistance, and then it continued to sell off, right? It made an even lower low and a lower high than it did last time. And so ultimately, heading into market open, right, well, what did I notice? I noticed that there was a strong support level, pretty similar to yesterday's pattern, right? During the pre-market hours, right, it really struggled to break this level, and then it actually started to change direction, right? So it started uptrend. Even during pre-market, we were seeing, some movement. And ultimately, what ended up happening? Well, this thing ended up shooting all the way up to the top VWAP, right? Got rejected. Not too surprising, right? Given the fact that earlier on during the pre-market session, anytime it broke above the top VWAP, it wouldn't hold very well, and it would pull on back, right? So that's similar to what we had going on today, right? This thing ended up pulling on back, right? Pushed up and then pulled on back. And so market open was right over here. So all of this craziness here. And what ended up happening, as you guys can see, right? It took a little drop the market, right at market open, and I decided to buy into TQQQ once I saw this thing actually starting to bounce here. And so what was the reasoning behind why I decided to do that? Well, given the fact that we were downtrending pre-market, we changed direction on the day, right? Started to trade between the top and middle VWAP. We ultimately did get rejected twice, but even in the pre-market session, I saw we were validating a support right at the middle VWAP, right? So I decided to get in once this thing broke below, but then bounced, right? As soon as it bounced, I started to buy into TQQQ, not very aggressively at all. Today, I think I was only trading with a 50% position size all day, right? And as you guys know, I used $10,000 to trade, so that would have been about $5,000. But in reality, I was pretty much just using 25% position size today. I would only average up, and I wouldn't hold very long those shares. So ultimately, right, as this thing started to bounce, I added and would cut shares as it became a little more overextended, right? Once this thing started to bounce, I noticed that it had, plenty of resistance levels during pre-market around these areas. So as it started to approach these areas, I decided to load off to play it safe. And although it did, push up, I was just comfortable selling there. I didn't want to, risk holding this and then have this thing get rejected here and pull on back. And so as you guys will see, I bought in at 631, averaged up, and then I sold pretty, soon after, as I mentioned, right? I wasn't holding the 5K in the shares for too long. So as this thing pushed up and became a little more overbought, I decided to cut the trade, right? And then I would pretty much just be waiting for this thing to pull on back and then validate a support again. As soon as it do that, I'd buy back in, sell out at around the same levels. It'd pull on back, I'd buy back in, add as soon as it broke above, sell at these higher levels here, right? And that's ultimately how I was able to walk away right around this area, right? As you guys will notice, I stopped trading at 648, and I actually took a small SQQ play to make a little bit of money, right? So, and what time did I exactly enter that SQQQ play? It was right at around, right, 648. And the reason why I did that was, well, once I sold out of TQQQ right around this area, this thing shot up right above the top VWAP, and as I noticed, right, anytime it broke above the top VWAP, it would really struggle to hold. So as this thing broke above and I saw some form of resistance here, I waited for this thing to break below top VWAP to really indicate this thing was selling off, right, around 648. I bought in, it had a nice little flush, and I decided to cut it there. And so that's ultimately how I was able to make money on SQQQ, even though it had a pretty nice rally, right? The market had a pretty nice rally today. And so as you guys can tell, right, this thing continued to uptrend all throughout the day, right? Ultimately, we did get rejected around these top VWAP levels and started to pull on back, right? And then began to test the middle VWAP, right? So ultimately, after this pullback, we could have either we could have sold off a bit below the middle VWAP, right? Try to push up again and got rejected and started to sell off, or, right, there was a chance this thing could continue to uptrend as it did. Because although this thing pulled on back, right, it was still making a higher low than it did before, right? It didn't go as low as it did before, so that's a good sign. And then once it did validate, right, that same support area right around the middle VWAP, it continued to, run on the day, and ultimately we did see it hit almost 11,400. So it was a really nice day, right, for the bulls. And ultimately I was just very happy and that I was able to, walk away with $61 profit within, 17 minutes and end the week on a green note. So, as you guys know, I haven't been performing the best in terms of my trading. So this week I really just wanted to play it safe, lock in profits, and not really, test my luck when it comes to the market. Definitely didn't want to overstay my visit because the longer you stay trading and sitting at the computer, the greater the chance that you're gonna end up over trading, right? But I just wanted to keep it simple, walk away. I was happy with my profit for the day, but that doesn't mean that you guys, have to walk away once you're up a certain dollar amount. You guys could continue to trade throughout the day as long as it makes sense to you. And ultimately, if I continue to trade, I definitely would have been looking out for an SQQQ play as this thing continued to sell off. And then, maybe once this thing started to validate a support at middle VWAP, I definitely would have added shares here to TQQQ. And then, who knows? It wouldn't have been the dumbest idea if I averaged up, right, and started to load off around this area and then gave it a few shares left to run for the day in case this thing did happen, right? But there's obviously no predicting that this thing was going to hit as high as it did, right? So that's ultimately why you would want to play it safe. Say this thing pushed up and you were in TQQQ and it started to get rejected around here, right around this area, it definitely wouldn't have been the dumbest idea to lock in profits for the day because we did notice every time it broke above the top VWAP, it would pull on back, right? Although it didn't end up doing it this time, it did struggle a bit, right? So that's definitely not, it wasn't the best sign for the NASDAQ, but ultimately, it continued to run on the day. And so very happy and very blessed for, being able to end with a profit today. And I hope you guys were all able to take advantage of that move as well. But, great day for the market overall. As you guys know, I explained in yesterday's video, whenever the NASDAQ rallies, lots of the top tech stocks tend to rally as well, right? So we saw Tesla up a decent amount, right? It had some pretty similar patterns. Facebook or Apple, sorry about that, Meta, aka Facebook, right? So pretty much everything. Well, Meta itself didn't have, a similar pattern, but it could have been for, a variety of reasons. But as I mentioned, the NASDAQ did have a really nice day, and, I was just very grateful to end on a green note. So I hope you guys were all able to take advantage of that, and, we're all able to take away something from this video. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. If we do look at the NASDAQ on the bigger time frame, we are seeing that although it did bounce here right off the EMA, which is a pretty good sign for us. We really need to see it break above, this resistance it previously had and even the SMA line itself. Because if it were, it is looking a bit overextended where it is, right? Because there's definitely a chance it could get rejected around these levels and then continue this downtrend pattern that we've been seeing, right? The NASDAQ itself has been selling off pretty aggressively. And so it wouldn't be the worst idea to really watch your position size heading into the market next week because, as I mentioned, we can either see this thing start to break above, but there's also a chance this thing could break below. And I definitely just want you guys to prepare for that as well, right? Always prepare for the worst case scenario. But yeah, thank you guys so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it and hope you guys are enjoying your Friday. If you guys are new to the channel, we really do appreciate you guys dropping a like and subscribing. It really helps us out. But Other than that, if you guys have any questions at all, want me to break down a stock for you or a stock indicator, go ahead and drop a comment, and I'm more than happy to do that for you guys. But that's pretty much it. My brother will be posting on Monday, right? Because he will be trading next week. So we will see you guys then. Take care and have a good weekend.